that have went through the treatment and all, and also the ones that have passed from it. Just a little recognition on that. Also, if I got my notes, a little behind on this one, September the 15th, October the 15th is also Hispanic Heritage Month. Just a little recognition on it.
All right. Any other comments from the commission? Okay. All right. Thank you, Commissioner Ivy. We're going to move into awards and presentations. We have a presentation today by, and I hope I'm not going to mess up this name, Theresa. Say the last name. Strawn. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, you're welcome to come up and make your presentation. She is the president and CEO of Dare to Care. And thank you so much for coming back today. I know you were here Thursday, but I appreciate you coming back today.
Good morning, how are you?
Good morning. Good.
I'm Teresa Strong, I'm the president of Dare to Care Incorporated. I presented the board members with a package last weekend, a sponsorship package for an event. It's called State of Emergency, Ceasefire, Stop the Violence. It's tentatively scheduled for December the 3rd, Saturday, December the 3rd. Yeah, look at your calendar, make sure.
I thought it was the second.
It's like the second. I know it's the first Saturday in December.
Second.
It's the second.
Second.
What we're proposing to do is bring the community together with celebrities, by including law enforcement, high school ball players, and celebrities to play in a basketball game. The game should start about 5. From 5 to 6:30, it will be autograph signing, 2 victims, family speaking, one of a solved murder, one of an unsolved murder, city leaders speaking. The ball game at halftime, we will do a slam dunk competition for high school players, giving away an award of $500 to $1,000 to the winning player. But the overall objective is to show peace and unity, which will be the names of the 2 teams. We're trying to figure out if we can incorporate a gun buyback to go on during the 5 to 6:30 time frame. As I stated before, my organization is putting up $15,000 on the event, and we're trying to raise another $15,000 to ensure that everything is covered, with the advertisement, the uniforms, the celebrities that we're trying to get in, the building rental. We're asking the council to assist us with helping to get law enforcement involved, to get the law enforcement to provide security for the event, financial system assistance if available. That's about it.
Okay. All right. Well, good deal. I think this is a great thing. We've certainly seen a spate of violence in the community here the last few years. So I appreciate, people like yourself stepping up and trying to take some ownership over the situation and at least making it better. I'm assuming y'all had some questions and y'all.
Yeah, we talked a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I did have one more question. I saw where I was reading, looked like you're having it in 3 other cities,
4 other cities.
4 other cities.
We,
Have they already?
Birmingham has totally committed to it.
Mhm.
We have a meeting with Montgomery. I have a meeting with Mobile the end of this month,
Mhm.
and we're in talks with Huntsville. So the 1st of next month, I actually forwarded you the
Mhm.
teaser video. I can send it over to the rest of you.
Yes.
It's just the overall video announcing what the event is gonna be, the potential cities. Once everything is locked in, the 1st of next month, each individual city will have an individual commercial because of the celebrities were buried according to the city, and it'll actually state the location, the time, and everything. So between now and the 1st of next month, everything should be locked in for all the cities, and we'll be up and running to advertise the event.
Gotcha.
So, Mr. Reese, one more question. So your contribution to these causes and now be a total of 5 cities, correct?
Yes.
Be 75,000, you doing 15 per city, or how's that working?
15 per city.
And where's that money coming from?
It's coming from the organization.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right.
Any other questions, comments? Teresa, again, I appreciate you stepping up. And a lot of times when there's any problem in society, people turn to a government to solve the problems for them. But at the end of the day, it's people that have to step up and make things happen. So it's amazing that you're doing this.
Well, my focus is that unfortunately, celebrities are the people that are raising kids right now through their music or, their basketball, football talents. With me being in the music industry for over 30 years, I've met a lot of celebrities. Some are friends, some are people that I just know. So when I speak to them about stuff like this, the first thing they say is, well, we're doing it here and we're doing it there, but you're going into these smaller cities. You're making money off of these smaller cities. You have an impact on the kids in these cities.
Mhm.
So my organization, I dare you to care enough to come into these cities and do events like what I'm proposing to do. So what I ask the artists to do is to waive their booking fee and we'll accommodate their travel in their room. And they get a tax write-off for it.
Yeah.
A lot of them don't know it, but they get a tax write-off for it. So it shouldn't be a big burden on you to actually come into a community to do something.
Okay.
Good job. We look forward to it and hopefully we can all be there on December the 2nd. So, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Item number 2, we have it's listed as a presentation, though it's not really. Is Hannah Shiver here today, or was she able to make it? Okay. All right. We will scratch that one, and we'll have her back at another time. We do have a recognition. Make sure I've got my stuff here. And we'll step down. I want to ask EMA Director Mark Powell to step up. See, yep, there he is. Good to see you. So as probably everybody knows, we recently hired a new EMA director. I guess you still holding that new label, or is it starting to wear off? You know? Well, Director Powell has already received his claim certification, and this is a big deal because it helps us out financially. You get reimbursed part of your salary.
That's right.
You have a EMA director that's been certified, so he has received a letter. I'm not going to read the entirety of it. I'll read part of it. This is from Jeff Smitherman, who's the director of Alabama Emergency Management Agency. He said, "Dear Director Powell, congratulations on your certification. Information has been reviewed and found to be complete as required by Act 2007-462. You now present yourself as a certified local emergency manager. Standards established to promote professionalism for the local emergency management directors in the state of Alabama." So I just wanted to recognize you because we were able to get this extremely quickly. I know you had some credits towards this already. I think you had one class you had to be able to do that, and so I just want to congratulate you and ask you to make any comments.
Okay. Well, I was not expecting this recognition today, but I appreciate it nonetheless. But yeah, this is something that, I'm coming from the world of the fire service, which certifications mean a lot. They really do. And so this means a lot to me to be able to get this certification. I got a lot of the classes, like Chairman Shute said, throughout the years of working at the fire department, was able to kind of finish it up. So I'm proud to be able to get this for the county and support them anyway.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to the fourth item, we have a presentation regarding youth sports facilities. So I know we've got a number of people that are here today. I know Mayor Trotter, you and somebody else, I think you're going to go first. And then Jonathan and I lost the other name, but somebody else is going to go after you. So but come on up.
I'm going to let that come up, and I want to introduce some people that I have here with me as well. I want you to think of me not as Mayor Trotter today. I want you to think of me as Kimberly Trotter, member of the community, mother of 5, a parent of people that are coming up through the sports programs in Houston County. In saying that, I've worked very closely with some of our recreational leaders. We have Wicksburg Parks and Rec is here, Danny King. He has some other people with him as well. We have Ashford, which is Jeff Speed, and we have Mayor Carol Barfield here as well. And then Jonathan Whitehurst, who is with Cottonwood Rec Program. And they have worked very hard on some of these numbers and things for us. We just wanted to highlight today some of the shortfalls that as parents we have seen in our youth programs over the last few years. Certainly this isn't a new problem. It is some things that stem from years and years and years, and just the fact that these programs are ran by volunteers for the most part. And so we'll go to the next slide. Currently outside of the city of Dothan, you have 4 rec programs that serve Houston County children as far as sports programs: basketball, football, cheerleading, softball, baseball, those type of things. Basketball is fairly new for most of them. We've got Ashford, Cottonwood, Rehoboth, and Wicksburg. It's interesting to note that none of these programs are owned and ran by their city. Ashford does have a rec director, which is Jeff Speed, but they still heavily rely on volunteers to actually run the day-to-day of those programs as far as coaching, maintaining different things, schedules, those type of things. It also is interesting to note that Wicksburg is an unincorporated community, so the things that they have been able to accomplish actually speaks volumes more than anyone else, because they don't have any source of help as far as funding. All right, next slide. I'm going to go over a little bit about all the parks and rec, and I just have a few pictures. I've got a lot of pictures I will share with you after the fact. I've put the number of participants in each sport, and this is from the most recent season. Ashford does maintain and own their facilities. They have one field that is owned by Houston County Board of Education because it is a high school field. They don't utilize it for their sports program. The main problem that they have is we need a lot of electrical upgrades there. Nothing is to code. Most of these parks were not built when code was a thing. So that's a big issue. LED lighting is the wave of the future and much, much needed at every one of these parks, but that is an expense that will pay for itself over time, but is an initial investment. There are no ADA compliance at very, very few of these parks, which is an issue. It's important to note with Ashford and every one of these programs that I've talked about, you don't have to live in the town of Ashford or the city of Ashford to play at this park. The only rule, and each organization as far as baseball, football, basketball has rules, is that you attend Ashford School. And so you'll notice the census data for each of these municipalities on the bottom. Ashford only has 374 children between the ages of 5 and 14, which is who utilizes their rec programs, but they service all these other children. And it's because you may have unincorporated areas that come and play. If, gentlemen, you know, this is a hat I've worn for years. A lot of our towns and cities have the awesome responsibility or burden of servicing children who don't necessarily live within our towns. Next slide. Next, we have Cottonwood. Cottonwood has made a complete turnaround with their program. They actually started football and cheer this year back after an 8 to 9 year hiatus, and you can see they serve 160 children. Their data is even more impressive because they only have 136 kids in their town limits between 5 and 14. So they're pulling from a lot of rural areas, and they have all these services. They are completely parent ran. The fields are owned by, I believe they're right now still on Board of Education's name. 2 of them, the rest are in the town of Cottonwood. But as far as maintaining them, anything that was constructed out there, that was done by parents over time. And you can see the needs for them are very, very great. They have no outside storage. They have 2 fields that don't have lighting on them at all, which is not real conducive with anything, really. They have a lot of code issues as far as their concession stand and their press box. The bathrooms are not great there. Plumbing is an issue. As with most rural communities, plumbing is a major issue, and septic and water is a major issue out there. But they are doing great things. Their school is growing very, very quickly. Most people don't realize that, but Cottonwood added the greatest growth rate last year. And so the number of children that are going to be able to participate in that program are going to continue to climb simply because they go to Cottonwood schools. Next slide, please. Next, we have Rehoboth Parks and Rec. Obviously, this one is near and dear to me. I played on some of these fields when I was younger, and they look the same. Our town limits 356, softball and baseball 347. And like I said, I included those numbers for everybody because it's so important to know where these kids are coming from. We have 3 fields at Rehoboth, 1 in Taylor that 1 league has to use 2 nights a week. So if you have a family, you're separated, which is already burdensome, having to be in 2 different locations. Our goal and our plan in Rehoboth is to build a new park in addition to this, because we do need way more than 3 fields. We need 5 to 6 total. At any given night during the fall, you will see all 3 fields full of 245 cheerleaders and football players, and it is like herding ants, to be honest. We have a lot of problems with ADA compliance. You can see the slopes on here. Our fields were actually just given to the town of Rehoboth from the Board of Education, but our programs are still parent ran, much like the city of Dothan, where their baseball league is ran by parents. We do maintain the fields, and I have a lot of investing that we're going to have to do to get these back to where they're supposed to, because they were constructed, much like I imagine most of you guys were, they were constructed before Rehoboth was a town. So they were literally built by parents, just like Cottonwood and Ashford is now. To participate in this, same as the others, you just have to be zoned for Rehoboth school. So you can live in Taylor and you will play here. You can live in Madrid and you will play here. You can live almost in Grace and you're going to go to Rehoboth school and you're going to play ball here. Next slide. Wicksburg is a little more tricky because Wicksburg is unincorporated. So to go to play at Wicksburg, you just have to attend Wicksburg schools, also one of the fastest growing schools in the town. In Houston County Schools, they have 256 softball and baseball participants. I can't, they don't have on census data because they're in an incorporation. But because of the rapid growth out in the Wicksburg community, the Houston County Board of Education, who owns the current fields there, they were just built on Houston County property. The Board of Education is having to take over that property to build a new school. We're going to build a gym there and expansion projects as well. So they have given land for a new facility to build the Wicksburg program. Unfortunately for the Wicksburg program, they don't have time to follow any sort of money. They're a nonprofit. Their children are going to be displaced for at least 1 season, we imagine, and have to find places to play elsewhere. You can see the numbers here. That's a large number of children that are going to be funneled into other programs, whether their parents choose Rehoboth, they may choose Slocum, they may choose, hopefully Wicksburg will be able to figure out a program where they can utilize some fields in underserved communities that don't have programs anymore. Their needs are great. They need an entire facility, to be honest. They're going to be starting from scratch. They do have a great team of volunteers that are going to do that. And are already working on ways to get that going. Next slide, please. Obviously, the financial restraints from this is that we have all these children to serve, not from just one municipality. The town of Rehoboth is responsible for a lot of children that aren't necessarily ours. They go to our school system, so they are ours, and it is our burden and our responsibility as parents to take care of them, much like Ashford, Cottonwood, and Wicksburg. People think that there are just unlimited grant opportunities. That is not the case, and especially not the case for Wicksburg. They don't have an incorporated town to run that through. For Rehoboth, it's not the case for us because we have a very high income limit within our town limits, and grants don't take into account the children that you pull from, even though our school is a Title I school. Cottonwood is going to be the same exact way. They're very, very limited options. Ashford has a good facility, but like upgrades and newer electrical things, there's not a lot of money out there for that. These are also volunteer run programs. If you're living under a rock, if you think volunteerism is the same as it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. We see that in our firefighters, we see that with lots of things nowadays, even our PTO. Volunteerism is just not a thing that's going to be making a huge comeback, unfortunately. And so we can't overextend the people that we have in these positions because eventually their kids are going to grow up and somebody else is going to have to come in their spot. fortunately for these programs, they've had some very good people that have been looking ahead and kind of making plans, but other than charging an exorbitant amount that outprices everybody, they are literally putting their funds right back into the kids. Uniforms, not coaches, uniforms, umpires, even the balls to play this, the lighting fees for this is a major, major expense. So there's not ever been an opportunity really to create a fund to plan for the future. Oh, we need another field. There's not a such thing as saving in these organizations because you are doing the right thing, you're putting it right back into it. Next slide, please. I'll close in this. The importance of youth sports cannot be underestimated. And it may have been a long time since any of you had a child in youth sports. Personally, my life and my family has seen the impact of it firsthand. I talked a lot about this on how studies show that it lowers the level of depression if you've got children in youth sports. We know that the workforce is better off if you've got children that have participated in youth sports. They can deal with loss, they can deal with defeat, their confidence is better, they can do time management. What I don't touch on here is that for a lot of these children, this is an escape. Being able to play sports is an escape, whether it be from their mundane life, from it being, oh, I'm not great at school, but I'm real good at football. It's an escape and it gives them confidence in the future and lets them be around people that they're like. For me, it also gives them a father figure in their life. They may have a coach that is the man in their life, teaching them, not just ball, not just football, but teaching them life skills. So it's important that we keep investing in these programs because we are spitting out children that are better for it. And so we're just asking the commission to kind of realize all that is going on behind the scenes in youth sports and see the need for investing in that in the future.
All right, thank you so much for that. We'll see if there's any questions in a second. Just a couple of comments that I have. No doubt about the impact coaches have on children. I know when, my dad recently passed and I couldn't tell you lost count of all the people, grown men that come up and said what an impact dad, had on them because he coached them in football, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. So, anyway, that was very touching. And I know you've personally impacted, children that through your involvement in the town and your husband through coaching. But I know there's probably people asking about, well, where's, that's nice. Where's the money going to come from? I think there is an opportunity for funding. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But outside of funding, is there any comments or questions from the commission?
I guess I had a question, Mayor. What is the total vision that, I understand what you're doing, but what is the vision that you're trying to bring forth to our counties, to this?
I think the vision is to inform you guys and let you know that we can't do it alone.
Right.
The burden of children in Houston County is a shared burden and also responsibility of us with Houston County. The city of Dothan obviously has their own children within their limits that they are servicing. Great, there's a lot of recreational programs.
Yes, ma'am.
But your children that aren't served, that are simply in the county, we cannot forget those. We can't leave those behind. And the fact of the matter is, as a parent, if I go home at the end of the day in Rehoboth, in rural Houston County, I want to be able to get up at 5 o'clock and my child play nearby. Have those children that they go to school with every day and play nearby instead of having to go back in town to the closest city, which is what has been done years and years and years by volunteers. But there is a shortfall, just like infrastructure has to be upgraded every so often. This is an infrastructure, a need that just hasn't been addressed in a very, very long time.
Right. Are we trying to upgrade the current infrastructure, or are we trying to build a whole new multiplex building?
Vicksburg doesn't have a choice. They do have to build from scratch. I'm not saying that anybody has a vision for any of us to build anything like James.
Okay.
We need dysfunctional fields with some good lighting.
I got you.
Make sure no one gets electrocuted by the power panel and that we can flush our toilets. We have continuity in Rehoboth right now.
You just trying to make sure we bring everything up to par, basically.
Exactly. I don't know about Cottonwood, but Rehoboth's toilets were built in the 80s.
Yeah.
They were not meant for 300 kids 4 nights a week, and they have been a major issue.
Yeah.
Now we as the town have been planning on adding fields for a long time.
Gotcha.
But it will not be a complex of any magnitude. We're not
I gotcha. We're in a legislative session. Brandon, you can talk a little bit about that. we were trying to help Wicksburg out, and I think he has me information on that a little bit that he might want to share.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at the end.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments?
I got a few, Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
So do we know the cost of what it would take for each one of these ballparks to get up to par, to where it needs to be? Do we know that yet? Or do we know an estimated cost?
I cannot speak for anyone else, as far as that goes.
Okay.
You guys are welcome to. I know
On
the
overall
first
cost for
one
all of them.
Yeah. I mean, if we had I would like to have a total of what it would be, whether it's a couple of million, 3 million, what it is, to understand where we're at and where we need to get to.
Yes,
And then
I
what's
think-
it gonna take to keep it up,
Yeah.
for
I
years
will
to
say
come?
most everyone that's in it, and you'll notice in these pictures, you don't see a lot of the ball field itself in these pictures. It is the infrastructure around it. Because the volunteers have done a pretty good job of maintaining the fields themselves, as far as dirt work, and the county helps us with some of that and all that. Now drainage and irrigation issues, those are very, very expensive things. I know from the Rehoboth standpoint, for us to add fields, because that's what we are in major need of, is adding fields, we're looking at several $1 million. I don't know about, Wicksburg, and I will say, everyone is very frugal in this because it's volunteerism and most of them are doing it themselves. Could either of you that are here give an estimate?
Well,
You'll need to come to the microphone.
Mayor, while he's coming, it sounded like you said several million in Rehoboth.
Yes, probably 1 to 2.
Okay.
And we are looking at grants and different things. I'm not sure that that's gonna be feasible for us.
Okay.
I'm Dave King from Wicksburg. We're in a critical situation because our fields have been taken. And we have about 22 acres of land, but we have to build a new facility. So we get a lot of help from people in the community. They contribute a lot. They do a lot of the work. So even with that, I'd say it's probably going to cost us close to $3 million to get us where we want to be. And that would include more fields to use baseball and softball, and also a soccer field, so we can add soccer to it. But I would guess around 3 million, this will be, and then as far as operational, everything is volunteer there, but we of course have to keep power going, so it would be whatever the power is. Goes up all the time, so maybe 30,000, maybe 50,000. I'm not sure what that costs us, in the
Okay.
future. But
Well,
our funding, we've applied for several grants. We've got 5,000 from Alabama RC&D. But, if you're looking for 3 million, you get 5,000, you got a long way to go.
Yeah.
And
Well,
just to follow up, Mr. King, Director Boswell has come down and looked, not sure exactly what's going to come out of that. Senator Chastain has been out. He's been in meetings with Senator Chastain to also try to see what kind of grants or funding that could be brought down to Wicksburg also on this. So they're in the process of trying to find avenues to get the money to help with this program.
okay. So I will say this, I'm a big advocate for sports. I've grown up here my whole life, was from Cottonwood. I played on some of those fields in Cottonwood, not those fields that's there by no means. Those are newer than what I played on. But I'm a big advocate for youth sports. Youth sports, there's no doubt, and even in high school sports, it teaches you structure. You have kids that don't have no idea what structure is because their home life is not great. But there's also some that do have a home life, but it teaches you how to earn something and how to get something. It doesn't come free. It doesn't come by, hey, I'm just here and I get to play. I got to earn what I get, which carries you on through life, and that's what you got to do. So youth sports and all is definitely, I'm an advocate for it. And I think the issue we're going to have and what we've got to come together to do is figure out how we're going to generate the revenue. And we got to make sure that the people understand that this revenue is going to be spent on these youth facilities, not anything else. And I think for a long time, it's hurt politicians and elected officials because you've deferred money that you promised to be used somewhere else, but you didn't use it for that purpose. It needs to be used for that purpose and it needs to be done. And I think that we can get there, but we've got to come together and figure out a way to do that and let the people know around here in our community and in this county that, hey, this money is going to be used for this purpose. and that's what it's gonna be used for. So, I'm ready to move forward because I know how important it is. So, I'm on board with you guys. So whatever we got to do to make it happen, we need to make it happen.
And one of the first steps right now that has happened, thanks to Barkley and his crew, they went out and already cleared pretty much all the trees and all that need to be cleared, and somewhat got the site ready. So,
All right. Appreciate y'all being here and making the presentation today. So we're going to move on to the second part of this presentation, unless you have a closing.
No, I was gonna say, we'll get some actual numbers to you guys too, and I'll email these pictures. And then next we have Randy Williams and Jonathan Myers.
Yes. Yeah. Brandy and Jonathan, if y'all want to come up. Thank y'all for being here today. So continuing in the same vein of youth sports, I don't know if y'all want to show the video first. I'll just let y'all make your presentation as y'all see fit.
We like to wait to show the video at the very end,
Okay.
just because we want you to really understand how impactful that is. First of all, Chairman Shute, Commissioners, thank you for having us here today. As Mayor Trotter said, I'm Brady Williams. I'm actually a part of the Rehoboth community. Been there for a little over 3 years, and I see our kids, our students, athletes. I'm known as Mama B because I have a lot of bonus children as well. I have a great love for our children. This past year was Rehoboth's first year ever having a track and field team. It was very exciting, but we were clueless on what to do. We had no clue where to go, but we had one coach that coached over 30 student athletes and led them to state finals, which was very exciting. But it kind of started making my wheels turn as to what we could accomplish if we actually had facilities to practice on. And during our first meet, just to tell you a little story, our first meet, we were there, and my son, he was running track. He does the 400 meter and a few other obstacles or a few other divisions in there. And I found myself cheering for not only my son, but someone from Dothan High School, someone from Houston Academy, and someone from Ashford Middle School. And I realized how much of a community track and field truly was. And I started talking to the parents and realized that, as you can tell, this is my first year, we have no way for any of our students to practice and be better. There's not a track and field facility in our area. The closest one is Enterprise, in which we have to travel to every Friday. Andalusia was inoperable last year. I'm sorry, Abbeville was, but we had to travel to Andalusia. So the closest two places, and I considered those practices because it was the first time our children had an opportunity to run on a track and field or actually see what it was like. And after speaking with them, they told us how intimidated they were, because Enterprise had the opportunity to practice on this daily. And I couldn't help but think, what could we do and where could we start? So being the mom that I am, I'm very over the top. That's just who I am. So I started a petition. Within a little over a week, we had 522 signatures in our community of the need for this. And I am an employee at Mercedes-Benz Stable, and of course, Mr. Schmitz is there, and he said, "Whoa, slow down." He said, "This isn't the right way to do it. We want you to do it the right way." And I said, "Okay, well, just tell me what to do." So I began reaching out to every single school in our area: Houston County, Ashford, Cottonwood, Dothan City Schools, Rehoboth, all of the coaches, and I began to hear things like they were using mattress pads to practice on. And their facilities, you know, they just didn't have a way to practice. And I couldn't help but wonder, we have to do better for our children. And just as Mayor Trotter said, it says start with youth, but what are we doing to help them to be better? I had a kid tell me that they would really love to go to college, but this was their first year ever on the track and field team. And they couldn't help but wonder what it could have been like if they had 3 years under their belt and got an opportunity to get a scholarship to go to a college, because otherwise his family couldn't afford it. And I feel like having this in our community, it's not just benefiting one or two schools, it's benefiting every school in the Dothan City and Houston County limits. And I feel like there is a huge need, and your community is behind you and they're supporting this need. And if I could have done it today, I would have filled us up with 250, 300 people in this board to prove this to you guys. But there is a great need, and later on, we're gonna see a video, and it's not from us, it's from the kids.
All right. Jonathan, do you have any comments?
I do. Thank you, Brandy. Chairman Shute, Commissioner Harvey, Herring, and I thank you. So I'm up here because I spent last year, my boys, I have twin boys, they're 15, they're in their 10th grade year this year, but last year, their 9th grade year, I spent the year following Coach Parker around to all of the cross country and the track, indoor and outdoor track. I'm a developer in the community. I know many of you. And as we went around to these meets, one, we thoroughly enjoyed attending the meets. And at all these meets, there's anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 people that are attending these. But we were going to meets in Enterprise, in Andalusia, up to Coleman for the state. And the question that I kept asking Matt, unfortunately, I think I annoyed him a lot, was why don't we have facilities in the Wiregrass area?
That's
We
right.
have Houston County, we have Dothan, we have 8 high schools. And when you add in the middle schools, we have well over 1,000 athletes with no facility at all. They can't do pole vault, they can't do steeplechase, they don't have the facilities, they don't have long jumps. So we went around to these communities. Enterprise has one high school, they have a track. Andalusia, one hotel, no amenities, track, also with no internet. We went up to Coleman. And these are great communities, and to Brandy's point, in all of these communities, the parents are out in force. And one of the things that you mentioned earlier is as the county commission, you guys every week spend lots of time talking about the infrastructure, buildings, roads, schools. And when people talk about communities and being a developer, part of what we do is homes and apartments. When people talk about areas of where they want to move, they ask how are the jobs, they ask what's available there, and inevitably they ask about schools. And what they're asking is, how do they treat their kids? What do they do to support their youth? That's what that question means. And we have a lot of people who have a lot of great things to say about the Wiregrass area and the way Houston County, the way Dothan treat their youth. And this community has done a phenomenal job. When you look around and you look at how they've supported the football programs and the baseball programs, the softball programs, soccer, they've done a phenomenal job. However, we have 1,000+ athletes with no facility at all, not even one among any of the schools. And so as we go to these meets, to Brandy's point, it is a phenomenal community, and you find yourself cheering, not just, I've been to several cross-country meets so far this year, and there are kids there from Wicksburg, where my brother has children. There are kids there from Dothan, where we have friends in church there. There are kids there from Providence. There are kids there from Ashford. And in every one of these high schools, one of the other things that I saw over this last year is almost every single high school is competing and qualifying to compete at the state level. And they have athletes that are not just qualifying and competing at the state level, but many of them are in the upper echelons, the top 5 of their division, of their event for the state. So we have a wonderful base here of parents who support those kids. And that track program, however, we have a lot of kids that if we had a facility, we would have the ability to be able to have a facility for them to practice on. So when they go out, they're not intimidated because they've never been on a real track. They've never done a real high jump. They've never participated in the pole vault. And so we are in dire need. I know this has been talked about for a long time, but the program has grown to the size now where it's time for us to invest in our youth and track and to help make that a part of this. In addition to everything that Mayor Trotter said about those outside communities and how much those parents have done, this is an element that's missing right now where we don't have anything at all. And so I would leave you to that, and we'll go ahead and play the video.
Yeah, let's roll the video, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about potential funding.
every student needs a thing that they care about, that gives them a purpose and gives them a drive.
This program is necessary not only for the kids participating in it, but also for the community around us.
Really, we owe it to the kids in the whole Dothan community to give those same opportunities.
Having a proper training facility would really help my confidence to run our events truthfully instead of have to estimate the distance.
Thank you for learning about going to needs.
Hurdles, it's really important to have a track to run on. We only have about 120 meters of space.
I've done a lot of record breaking.
The confidence, especially fence, we have the disadvantage of not having a track.
Track and field is the kind of thing where, you know, you can try short distance running, you can try long distance running, you can throw, you can jump.
Qualified for sectional every year.
I can compete against like the best athletes.
I'd really love to participate at a college level. I just get really excited to see the friends that I've made throughout the season.
Feel like they're a team together in our whole county to support each other and encourage each other.
All right, good video. So go ahead and lower that. Yep, and we'll continue on the conversation a little bit. So, and obviously the question is like, how are we gonna, this is all great, you know, we see the need, but how are we gonna pay for it? So working on some potential funding and essentially there's an opportunity to do a hotel room tax, and also apply to Airbnbs inside the city of Dothan and outside. And so, you know, originally, I guess we were thinking about doing a $2 per room per night fee. I think, and speaking with the hoteliers, I didn't get a whole lot of pushback, except they may want to change it to a percentage and not a flat fee. So that was one thing that came out of those conversations. But like I said, I've kind of started that conversation with a couple of the major hoteliers in the area and have not received a whole lot of negativity from those conversations. So I think there's an opportunity there. Based on, you know, just some preliminary numbers, and you know, we'll see what comes out when we, you know, we'll see what the commission decides, and we'll see what comes out with the funding. But it could be enough to provide, you know, $750,000 to each of these 5 projects that we've talked about today. Now, obviously, that's not going to build a brand new facility in Wicksburg, but I bet you'd like to have $750,000 versus not have it any day of the week. And again, this probably won't build a track, but it'll go a long way towards getting one started. I know that there's going to be opportunities for private donations, and you know, it's obviously the city of Dothan may participate in something like this. So I think this is something we should consider. Not going to ask for any action to be taken today. This is just a time for information to be exchanged, conversations to be had, or at least started. And because this will obviously require a local bill, and the legislature don't go into session, I think, until February or March. So we have some time before that day comes. So any questions yeah, talking about the 750, that this would be a fee, but we would bond that out. So we would pledge that revenue stream, take out a bond, and we would be able to provide that funding up front. Obviously, if we bond it out, it's not going to provide a lot of money for ongoing operational expenses. And I don't know if we want to get into the business of sustaining an operation. At some point, you know, the facilities have to be self-sustaining, but we could use this money to kind of get something going. Whereas in the past, you know, we've kind of either not had something like the track. I mean, this conversation with the track and field has been going on for 10 years, maybe. 30 years
plus
precedes me. So I think it's an opportunity. I think the commission should strongly consider it, but obviously that is up to the commission. But any questions or comments?
I've got a couple. Have y'all looked at a location yet, or you're still in the thought process of a centralized location?
We've looked at a couple locations, and obviously where that is important as far as centralization. We're working with a few people on budgets right now as far as what it would cost to maintain a facility, what it would cost to build that. We'll have more of that information here probably in about the next 30 to 60 days, and we'll be more than happy to share. I don't want to throw numbers out just yet until we kind of compile that, just for the sake of not wanting to give you something that's inaccurate, coming back later and changing it. But we are actively working on both the location, the budget to maintain, and the budget to build right now.
I think it wouldn't be a reach to say that the track and field would be built in the city of Dothan. You know, most likely.
There's a pretty good probability of that.
Gotcha.
And the reason I ask that is a lot of times by advancements, especially at the schools, like Wicksburg now, they're losing their rec fields to the advancement of the school, where parking lot and buildings is going to take that place. Once upon a time, where the rec fields is now, used to be a track out at Wicksburg, and it was a dirt track, and that's what we ran on. So I can understand where what they're looking for and what they're needing on today's time, especially the surface of the track. You want to be definitely up to date on what surface it has. So I can definitely see the needs that these kids are wanting, and also a facility of not only what they're looking at now, but also big enough for any advancements.
Well, and we are, to the comments that were made earlier about being self-sustaining, Shannon Shoe, we're looking at various streams. One of the opportunities in having that, of the caliber that we're talking about is to be able to host events. Enterprise actually has a fairly decent revenue stream that they get from their track and the events that they hold there. What we're talking about would be a little bit step above that, but would allow us to host events for not just middle school, high school, but possibly at the collegiate level, and be able to host events and be able to take care of that maintenance. And so any contribution by the county, we're very grateful for, whether it's monetary or work in kind, would be greatly appreciated. We're very aware of the need for this track to be able to be maintained on a regular basis. So that's all very much a part of the conversation.
Gotcha. Anything else before we move on?
Brandon, Jonathan, I think you guys ought to be commended for your efforts in doing it. Even you, Mayor Trotter, for your efforts in the vision for our children. I was listening to Brandon, you said 750 in a bond. I think that would be a start. And this would be a localized track complex for the entire community, right? I was just thinking about that. 30 plus years back, we've never had a real track. I'm a 1988 graduate of Dothan High School, and they were talking about that even then. You know, I was just thinking about it. It brings back a lot of memories, and I would love to see something, just an effort, more than effort put forth in doing that. Definitely put me on board for trying to help you guys.
Welcome aboard.
All right. Thank y'all. Thank y'all for being here today.
You know, Chairman, I want to say this.
Yeah.
Statistically, and you know what I do for a living in law enforcement, my full-time job. But people in places and communities that have places for our youth to do and our children to do and keep them active, statistically, those crime rates go down. And it's very important we consider that and think about that as we move forward this, that it is an obligation. It is something that we're going to have to, bite the bullet and do. That some people don't like to talk about revenue, increasing revenue and those things, but we're there. We've outgrown what we're able to bring in. So we've got to figure out a way to help our youth as they come up. My children has played sports throughout. They're out of high school now, but it's very important that you give them something to do. So I just say that to my fellow commissioners, to city commissioners, and everybody else is involved. We got to think about that and think about how well it's going to decrease crime rates and decrease things of that sort, and possibly help families in general be able to stay together, which is very important.
Yeah, that is true. And the good thing about a potential hotel room fee is that, we wouldn't have to pay it. Nobody in Houston County would have to pay it unless we got kicked out of the house by our spouse, which has almost happened to me a couple of times. It may happen at some point. So anyway, thank y'all again for being here today. Barkley, we're going to come to you in just a second, but I saw that Miss Hannah Shiver has walked in. So Hannah, do you want to? I'm sorry.
Just one more
Mr.
comment.
Harvey.
I know something we've talked about for years now. I know over 15 years, and something that we don't like to talk about that would give us plenty of revenue to do what we want to do, not even for our children and other things they want to do, as a 1 cent sales tax increase. I know it's something that we don't like to talk about, but it would bring in huge revenue, and then we could actually accomplish a lot more things than we're sitting here talking about. I think it's something that a conversation that needs to be had in each of our communities and our districts and our municipalities, and show them, be transparent, and let them know exactly where those dollars are going. And I think we can move forward a little bit more.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Shiver, come on up. The mic is already hot and ready for you. and I know our former chairman was going to be here today to introduce you, so I guess I'll have to introduce you, but Hannah Shriver is the new, and I'm not sure the position, is it CEO, president?
Executive Director.
Executive Director of Visit Dothan. So thank you for being here today. Appreciate you making the opportunity to come introduce yourselves to the commission, so I'll let you go.
Yeah, good morning. Very excited. Last week was my first week taking over that role. So I'm really excited to partner with the county and continue to build our relationship and assist in whatever ways we can to facilitate projects and events and anything that we have going on in our area. So spent a little over a decade in the hospitality industry. So getting to bring a breath of fresh air into the office from a business standpoint, knowing what our travelers are needing and really weaving that into the story of why they need to be here in our area.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, that's interesting. You know, I know you come from LBA, and which is a big business here in Dothan. But essentially, that's kind of the role of Visit Dothan, is to put heads in beds. So I think it's great that you have that experience and that background. So I know LBA was probably sad to lose you, but they're excited that you're in the chair, the seat that you're in now. So congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was definitely mixed emotions since I've been there so long, but it was a great opportunity for growth that they recognize as well, and we're very supportive of it. So, you know, anytime anybody pours development and then support into you and helps you grow, it's just exciting to be able to return that to the community.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations again, and we look forward to having you back one day.
Yep. Absolutely.
Thank you. All right. So we're done with item 2, done with item 4 under awards and presentations. So we're going to move on to item number 5, service award recognition. Mr. County Engineer. Yes. Mm-hmm. You can move that microphone if you need to.
Got a towel today.
That's okay. Look there.
He got a towel. Yeah.
He does have a towel.
He does have a towel. Yeah, he got a towel.
It's awesome.
We'll get Jason Harper to come up here. His wife Teresa's here. This is kind of bittersweet for me. Jason, bitter part, we're losing 31 years of experience, just an old school thought process to it. He knows the county. He knows what we can do legally, what we can't do legally. He knows the problems. It's just gonna be hard to replace. You don't just replace 31 years.
Yeah.
Right side of it, Jason started here, making $4.30 an hour?
Yeah.
He's worked here, he's put his time in, he's worked his way since I've been here. Right-of-way agent, party chief, and now supervisor for the last, 10 or 12 years, 18 years? So he has worked his way up through, he knows the whole, thing of the county, and, it's just gonna be hard to replace.
Yeah.
But I'm proud for him. I mean, he's put his time in, he's financially set to retire, and he's ready to retire. He's got grandkids at home. So I want to publicly thank you, Jason, for all your work and what you've done, and we're gonna miss you, and we'll still be here. So,
Yeah. Congratulations. I know that's 31 years, you said. That's a long time. So I think we've all had the pleasure of working with you at some point. I know I did when I was a district commissioner. So anyway, congratulations. I know you will definitely be missed, but that's outstanding. I mean, you can't ask for more than 31 years. I mean, these days we're begging for people to put in 5. So
You said it's least favorite Commissioner Adam, but that's also a brother-in-law.
Oh yeah, well that makes sense. Well, let's if it's okay, and I know we've been long-winded, but let's take a picture. I think 31 years at least deserves a picture. So why don't y'all come up here and let's have a picture. Yeah, you too.
Come on, Chris.
We gotta squeeze in here, huh?
All right, thank you.
I think 31 years deserves him to speak and say something, you know, I think he should get up there. He probably talked better than Commissioner Adams anyway,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
All right, I love recognitions like that, so congratulations. All right, we are going to move on to our regular agenda. So item number 1 is a request to award revised ACCA joint county bids for herbicides.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner Herring, second by Commissioner Ivy. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item number 2 is a request for a 010 lounge retail liquor license, Class 1 for River Lounge 2, located at 3042 West State Highway 92, Newton, Alabama. This is in Wicksburg.
Motion.
Have a motion by Commissioner Ivy.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Herring. Is there any questions or discussion? Is there anybody here that wishes to speak against this license? Okay, all in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item number 3 is a request for a 040 retail beer on or off premises and 060 retail table wine, also on or off premises. License for Ramu Enterprises LLC, DBA JR's Pizza Palace, located at 14634 West US Highway 84, also in Wicksburg.
Motion.
A motion by Commissioner Ivy,
Second.
second by Commissioner
I don't want to take over.
Herring. Any questions or discussion on this item? All right, is there anybody here that wishes to speak against this item? All right, all in favor say aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item number 4 is a request to approve budget amendment to add additional community support agency request to the FY 2024 budget.
So,
We have a motion by Commissioner Harvey,
he's alive.
Second.
second by Commissioner Ivy. Any questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item number 5 is a request to approve budget amendment in the amount of $2,800 to assist Gordon Volunteer Fire Department with tax exempt
So-
eligibility
Second.
determination. We have a motion by Commissioner Harvey, a second by Commissioner Herring. As y'all remember, this is to pay for a promise we made in 2018 to help the agencies get where they need to be. So, any questions or discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item number 6 is a request to approve resolution for expenditure of American Rescue Plan Act funds for sewer infrastructure project in the town of Kinsey and approve accompanying subrecipient agreement.
So more.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Harvey, second by Commissioner Herring. Any questions or discussion on this item? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item number 7 is a request to adopt resolution to enter into an agreement with North Star Engineering Services for the design, surveying, and inspection for Homeland Security building site and building.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Herring, second by Commissioner Harvey. Any questions or discussion on this item?
I did make comments Thursday that I did have questions, but after speaking with Barkley and also with Peter after the meeting. Questions have been asked.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Any other comments or questions? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion passes. Staff reports, Mr. Chief or Acting Miss Chief Administrative Officer. All right. Mr. County Engineer. Okay. Mr. County Attorney. All right. This time we will entertain a motion to adjourn, and we are adjourned. Thank y'all for coming.